minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you came here to escape the madness, you might not have come to the right place today. But we'll see. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Tuesday. We're coming at you, yakking it up on the old Yak Box, on Game Plus Television, the radio, of course, WQVZ. What up? Ryan O Radio, podcast form and all the rest. Hi, I'm your affable host, RP. Scruffy, I think, is going to be with us here in seconds. Oh man, you're gonna love this story. And Mike Richards coming up in hour two. The inimitable Mike Richards. We have Scruffy. You know what, Mitch? Between you and Mark Hebscher yesterday, did you see him yesterday joining us from his attic? He had to get close to the router. I'm just like, what is going? God keeps throwing these curveballs.
I saw the last bit of the interview. I went back to YouTube and caught the last bit, but I didn't see the start though. So I sort of wondered where he was.
Tell me about it. Well, Mitchell Scruffy Blair is here. Thank you for busting your butt to get it all working, Mitch. I appreciate you. It looks great. And by the way, the Sillinger family really liked your comment yesterday about Mike Sillinger and John Tortorella. They liked it. So I just wanted to pass that along. They thought it was funny.
Right.
So
hoping to see something in the rain.
Well, I just saw the Ticketmaster for the playoff game tonight, Pats and Tigers. Come on down, folks. We've got good sections available. But that is not what we're talking about here right now, Scruffy. We're opening up with the big news. Come on, let's get real. We're anchored in Toronto, Game Plus Television. Point one, Brad Treliving has been fired as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. MLSE made the announcement just prior to the Leafs' overtime victory at Anaheim last night. We don't need to get into the history of when he was hired, why he was fired. Although I was not surprised, when I came across my phone. These days you don't really know what to trust or whatever, but I was not surprised. How about you when you saw that news yesterday?
The timing of it did surprise me because it came just about an hour and a half before they faced off in Anaheim in a game where you knew what the headline was going in. So, I think we all knew that Brad Treliving was going to be fired as GM of the Maple Leafs, but we probably thought it was going to happen when the season ended. And I think Brad Treliving probably, he read the tea leaves and said, you know what, Keith Pelly, if we're going to do this, let's just do it now. And that happened. But I was just sort of confused. Why wouldn't you just do it this morning instead of doing it an hour and a half before your team's playing a game in California? But it was weird, but it wasn't a surprise.
No, not at all. I'll get to the comments from the viewers here in a second. There's some weird ones coming in, some funny ones too, and all the rest of it. But shout out to Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick on NHL Radio, which I think you listen to from time to time. Every single time I tune them in, I learn something. Whether I'm listening for 5 minutes or an hour, I learned something. And to be honest, they said exactly what you just said. And to go a little deeper, I guess he hadn't been traveling on the road with the Leafs. Brad Treliving, the relationship was fractured. It's been bad. And by the way, this is the quick segment off the top here in the warm-up brought to you by Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. I'm like, if we're tired of talking about the grease fire of Toronto, which I already am, let's go up the road and talk about Ottawa. Oh, wait. Grease fire there with their goalie. So we'll get major grease fire, and they're visiting the Florida Panthers tonight. I'm sure you're up on the Linus Ullmark. How could you not be? You live in Canada, Mitch.
Yeah, there's a lot of consensus, and I think you've heard this too, Rod, that if the Ottawa Senators, where have we heard this mantra before? If the Ottawa Senators had better goaltending this season, we wouldn't be talking about the Senators the way we are now about whether or not they can get into a playoff spot, because chances are they would be very close to having an X by their name already if they didn't have one. But Linus Ullmark has certainly not paid back the investment that the Ottawa Senators made in him when they got him from Boston in free agency. But you can't deny what Ottawa has been doing here the last couple weeks. And, I think they're favored going into Miami tonight. And it wouldn't surprise me to see them get into a playoff spot.
The Yellowgrass Wheat Kings would be favored coming into Florida tonight. The Panthers are dressing a minor league roster almost every night. But by the way, I back that up. I mean, I don't want to morph this show with the mental health stuff, although I feel like I kind of have to, where this is with the Linus Ullmark thing. And I'll get into it more after you adjourn. There's far more pressing things to get to with you. But some of these comments, like Brian writes in, I believe he's in Winnipeg. He says, "Good morning, all. Rod, I see your new job as GM of the Leafs has opened up for you. Oh, but you're more of a football guy, LOL. Buddy, if you think that, then you don't know me at all. So either learn or you're not trying." But
why does he think you're Darren Drager?
Why is Drake's going to be the GM of the Leafs, just like Bob Stoffer's going to be the next
all
GM
these Toronto
of the
media guys like Drager and Saravelli and everybody else, like they think they have all the answers.
Well, Roy Shivers thought you had
was
all
Roy
the
Shivers
answers.
apparently. Remember that?
Mitchell Blair. Who should replace you, Roy Shivers?
Mitchell Blair. Oh
boy. Okay, well, before we break, we got 2 minutes here in this segment. The poll question today, which is brought to you by Country Thunder, Rockin' Craven this July. We'll get to some more details on that in a second. The poll question today is, who should be the next general manager of the Leafs? I had 3 options, but I might add a 4th. Doug Armstrong, Mark Hunter, Chris Pronger, or other. Maybe we'll say the 4th, Mitchell Blair. I mean, I kind of wonder why Doug Armstrong's name's on the list. But again, Lachlan and Stellectricity said that I guess Keith Pelly's already reached out to Doug Armstrong, even though he's still the GM of the Blues. Like, all of this is so weird. So as I said at the start, you heard me say, Mitch, if you came here to escape the madness, you came to the wrong place, because none of it really makes sense. But I will say this, leading the poll is Mark Hunter. Everybody thought they should have hired him and his brother before they hired Tree Living. Put me down for Mark Hunter.
I would not be surprised if that happened. Here's another name for you, because I saw it come out this morning. I think it was Bardown put it down as a surprise candidate. And this person's already working for the Leafs. Haley Wickenheiser.
Oh, sure. Why not? Why not? Monty in Saskatoon says Chris Pronger. Listen, I don't mind getting into all. I don't. If this is what you all want to talk about, I'm okay with it. I don't know why
Chris Pronger's not going to be the GM of the Leafs.
He doesn't need the money. Why would he take the stress? He's killing it in the media. So hang on. We'll be right back. I'm going to go for a walk, and I'll be back in 3.5 minutes. It's the RP show. It's the warm-up, and you're watching on Game Plus TV Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back. And the poll question is for Country Thunder. Who should be the next GM of the Leafs? We whittled it down to 3, but the viewers are writing in with some unbelievable names. As our boy Greg Bonnet would say, Mitch, from the ridiculous to the sublime. Ba-boom, ba-ba-ba-boom. But the Country Thunder poll, get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. By the way, Jason and Red Deer says, how about Wayne Gretzky? How about Doug Gilmour? How about we get real? Robin Winthorst writes, and he says, I think Gord Stellick deserves a second chance with the Leafs. See what he can do without Harold Ballard breathing down his neck.
No.
He'd do it. He would do it. No, can we get real? I should ask you, who would you vote for? Who do you think it should be?
Roddy, I think that probably at the end of the day it's Doug Armstrong, because I think that Keith Pelly wants somebody that's got some NHL experience in there. But I would be going for Mark and Dale Hunter.
If you're hiring, who are you hiring? That's it. Yeah.
Armstrong.
Okay, well, fair, because you said that you would hire the Hunters, because that's who I would hire.
I just think that Keith Pelly wants to get someone that's got some NHL experience under his belt. And Mark and Dale don't. Mark doesn't have the GM experience under his belt. Now, if he wants to make Dale the coach and GM, well, then go ahead. But I think he goes with Armstrong.
Well, it's funny, by the way, that you say that. And my word, we could spend 40 minutes with Scruffy on this. And that's fine, because that's what people seem to want to talk about. But Hunter worked in that office at a very high role of scouting. So he's got NHL experience. I know what you're saying. You're saying he's never been a... Yes, Mark. Yeah, he hired Dale Durkach as the GM of the Leafs and was either replaced by Tim Speltz or replaced Tim Speltz, one of the two. But no, Hunter already worked for the Leafs. So he hasn't been
I
a
did
GM
not
in the
know
league.
that. I knew Dale had his NHL experience, but I didn't know that Mark did. So
no, and these guys, the people that are writing in with Gretzky, Gilmour, I mean, come on. Jason and Red Deer says, why are Gretzky and Gilmour not real? Serious question. Well, for one, Gretzky doesn't want it or he would be doing it. Number two, Gilmour, I believe, was running the team in Kingston. I don't know if he still is or not. But why do you have to have a name? Look at the reigning Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, Bill Zito. Who really was Bill Zito? Nobody knew who Bill Zito was until he was an agent. He was assistant GM in Columbus. Nobody in the NHL, well, fans didn't know who Kelly McCrimmon was in Vegas. They didn't know. I saw NHL media saying, why is this guy the hottest commodity out there? I'm like, you're supposed to be a hockey media and you don't know who Kelly McCrimmon is?
Right.
When Kelly was interviewing for both Edmonton and Vegas. That's why the media, quite frankly, is really, really hurting my love of hockey. It is. I mean, people don't know what you're talking about, and it pisses me off. Terry from Calgary writes in and he says, Kevin Adams? Do you want to address that?
I'll let you. You're the host.
No, I don't. Let's hire every failed general manager. I get what Terry's saying, and Terry's a lawyer. He ain't dumb. It's like he built this wagon that's the Buffalo Sabres. There's no doubting that. He's built it all, right? But I don't know that Kevin Adams is the savior of the Toronto. Let's just hire the Hunters and get over it. Do you have anything else on this? Well, John Ohm says, let AI run the Leafs. That might be a better suggestion than all these guys.
All I have to say is this. I hope that the Leafs can find someone ASAP. Because if not, and Roddy, you know this as well as anyone, being a Canadian, this will overshadow the Stanley Cup playoffs. Because Sportsnet and TSN, it'll be Leaf GM update. By the way, guys, there's games on. Leaf GM update.
It is.
You know it's right.
Far, of course. By far the most overhyped, non-deserved sports franchise, not hockey team, sports franchise on the continent. And I'm a Cowboys fan. The Leafs, it's not
Roddy,
control. Like I went, what?
Roddy, sorry, I was just going to say, I'm guessing today if I watch Overdrive, because that information came out after yesterday's show ended, it's going to be 2 full hours of that today.
Yeah, well, and that's why we've had enough of it today. But if I can just, I told producer Corey before the show, it's Tuesday and I'm ready for the weekend. I was after yesterday's show. Scott in Vancouver writes in, if I can just play TV Guide for a second, Mitch. He says, I watched on Game TV when I was in Nova Scotia last year. I don't get the feed in BC. Right now they're showing Family Feud Canada reruns. We're not on Game TV. We're on Game Plus TV.
Chicken!
You know what my 12-step sponsor Bob says? There's only 3 things that piss me off. People, places, and things. Okay, I'm staying out of the comments. 902-518-3033. I'm like, hey, let's stop talking about the grease fire that's the Leafs and flip over to Ottawa for a second. Because, again, they're at Florida tonight. That's one of the big reasons why I'm wearing my Panther gear. And so with the goalie Linus Ullmark, again, I wonder what you are seeing about that, because the coach, Travis Green, came out after Saturday's game when they lost in Tampa, and they said, why the reporter for the Senators, because there was no traveling media with this Ottawa Senators, the guy that works for the Senators, basically said, why did Ullmark not play? And Travis Green goes, he felt he needed a rest. I'd like to play him every game. I'm paraphrasing here. Somehow that's morphed to, and I'm not sure that it's wrong, people are saying that he had to take a mental health break. And he's getting ripped apart for that. And Jeff O'Neill ripped him apart on Overdrive. I'm sure you saw that clip yesterday. Our buddy O-Dog, like he's a friend of mine, he goes, it's unacceptable that you would take a night off in a playoff race. O-Dog's not wrong. And I have thoughts on that, but what are yours on this whole Linus Ullmark? You said they weren't getting the return on investment, which is true, but what about this mental health thing of his?
Roddy, on the surface, I would agree with what you're saying and what O-Dog is saying. But if you're not in the room and you don't know what the exact details are, it's hard to make that statement, because we just don't know what's going through Linus Ullmark's head. And if Linus Ullmark isn't in the proper frame of mind, and he goes out to start and he lets 5 goals in, well, how's that going to make it better? Like, I don't want to say that some athletes are now using mental health as an excuse for maybe a bad performance or something, or needing a day off. But until we are in their skates or cleats or whatever, I don't know if we can make that statement. We can certainly criticize it, or we can praise it for him, putting himself ahead of the team, which maybe brings up another can of worms. But I don't know if we can properly assess it unless we are actually inside the room, and we're not. So,
well, very well said by you. And by the way, I can tell you were kind of uncomfortable addressing it, but you say whatever you want. It's fine. You're not wrong. I've got friends in the Ottawa media that when the first thing blew up with this team a couple of months ago, I called and let's just say it ain't good. Things aren't good with the Ottawa Senators. Okay, number one. Number two, the thing with Jeff O'Neill where he said you don't take a night off, and O'Dog's not wrong either. Like, and I think our viewers know by now that I have a thriving mental health recovery company working with high-level athletes. And I'll tell you right now, the number one demographic is goalies. We're a little touched to begin with, as you know.
Yep.
But with the guys that I worked with, and I worked with them from junior up to the NHL, I would say you got to get in there. And we know you're dealing with this, but this is what you do. Right? I'm not because you're right. I don't know what Allmark's situation is, but again, it's not good. So I'll get more information tonight at the rink in Sunrise because they're here and they're taking on the Florida Panthers. But it is a very tough situation. And I just feel like, let me just walk this back for a sec. Big picture. Whoop. Don't you feel like this whole thing, especially NHL media, but sports in general, is like a boiling pot on the stove? It's at a rolling boil right now. It's like the lid's about to That's what it feels like to me.
In some aspects, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I don't know where it goes from here. So everybody just needs to slow down. By the way, the other thing was Tortorella wins his Vegas Golden Knights debut. Perfect timing, wouldn't you say, last night to be playing the Vancouver Canucks? Because,
right.
Again, the Yellowgrass Wheat Kings could have beaten them. But, yeah. Anyways, okay, that's what I want to talk about off the top was the Leafs and the Senators before we go. We're going to switch to baseball unless you have any other thoughts on that.
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, the RP Show, proud to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show and also of the BC Lions. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th, to baseball games plus a football game, Sask at Hamilton. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Point two of the Quick Six show topics. The Blue Jays' 3-game win streak is over. The visiting Colorado Rockies scored 7 times in the sixth and whipped the Jays 14-5 to record their first win in 4 MLB outings. Let me stop for a sec. Did the Cubs play last night? Your Cubs?
Yep. They got rid of the Anaheim Angels.
Explain.
Well, they beat them. They had a big inning and they beat the Anaheim Angels. They're 2-2 now. So.
Okay. Well, you said they eliminated them or something, or whatever they
got rid of them. In the words of J.R. Foley, they got rid of them.
Okay. Well, with the Blue Jays, because this is in my commentary today, I know you're not the Jays fan, but you can't not follow what's going on because you live in Canada. And I thought them losing 14-5 to the Rockies was not a bad thing last night. You know, the fans want them to go 162-0, but it might have brought them down to earth a little bit. And I feel like that might have been needed over there at Rogers Center. Am I right?
Well, there were certainly a lot of people after the opening 3 games that were thinking they're going back to the World Series. And last I looked, baseball was a 162-game regular season and not a 9 or 10-game one. So, I think that this was probably a good slap in the face for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people also forget that the Toronto Blue Jays walked into Denver last year and just mollywopped the Rockies in a 3-game series. And as I believe Mr. Hebscher put out last night on Twitter, the Rockies didn't forget about that. And they didn't say after 5 innings, after Brendan Little left the game, they didn't say, okay, we're good. They kept swinging. And I'm guessing that that's going to continue tonight and tomorrow because there's a lot of guys on that team that were embarrassed by the Blue Jays last year and they would love nothing more than to take a pound of flesh back from the American League champions.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says they got whipped by the worst team in baseball. Right. It's not necessarily a bad thing. What Scruffy just says, it's motivation. By the way, Darcy's watching in Grand Prairie on Game Plus TV. He writes in and he says, it's not us goalies, but the rest of the world that needs counseling. Oh, there's like symptom number 7 that maybe you should give me a call. I'm not the problem. Everybody else is. It's like maybe the first sign that maybe you have some issues. Let's worry about our issues and what we can control. That's number 1. So, but thank you for playing, Darcy. Tony in Saskatoon writes in. He says, good morning, guys. I'm in total agreement with Mitch. There's no way we know what goes on in someone's head. Look at Gary Woodland on the PGA Tour. Brain surgery, then PTSD. For him to win on Sunday was amazing. All the best to him. It's fine. And I don't know what's going on with Allmark either, but you just said he went out and played. Allmark's not. And that's the rub. That's the issue.
Has Allmark ever spoken on this issue?
Hang on, because we got 20 seconds, 15 seconds. So we'll break and come back on all of this. All right. This is where we need Janice and what she was talking about last week. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Centre April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Pedersen Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hour one of the RP Show brought to you in part by our good buddy Tony Plater, Outlaw Communications, where creativity is a way of life. Specializing in strategic communications, leadership training, and clear conversational content that motivates your audience. Check him out, tonyplater.com. That's Plater with a Y. I'll say it again, Scruffy. Thank you so much for figuring it out technologically to get you on today. I really appreciate it. We're going to move on. There's a lot of comments that have come in on the mental health stuff. I'll handle that after Mitch is gone. Point 3 of the quick 6 show topics here for Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Russell Wilson are all still unsigned for the 2026 NFL season. Options vary for the 4 accomplished veteran quarterbacks. The 42-year-old Rodgers can return to Pittsburgh and play for new coach Mike McCarthy if he doesn't choose to retire. Cousins will likely have to settle for a backup role somewhere else unless Rodgers retires or another starter gets hurt in the offseason. Garoppolo has an opportunity to go back to the Rams for a third season and play behind Matthew Stafford. Your thoughts on NFL free agency and leftovers as was it the owners or the GMs are meeting in Phoenix this week, or both?
I think it's the owners. I think.
Are you following the coverage?
But I know they're all there. I know they're all there because all you have to do is watch Patrick or McAfee or Kay Adams or whoever, and they've got somebody on as they talk about the upcoming season. So I know yesterday Kay Adams had Mike McDonald on. McAfee had Mike McCarthy on. Patrick had Billy Bean, I think it was on. So, yeah. Billy Bean. The Bills GM. Billy Bean. Am I right with that? No. I don't know.
That's the baseball guy, is he not? I can look
Yeah,
it up.
you're right. Yeah. He had the Bills GM on, though. So, because they were talking to him about stuff. So,
well, and Florio and Chris Sims are there, and they had Matt Ryan on. He's going to save the Atlanta Falcons as president of the Atlanta Falcons. So it's the one. I don't know if it's good or bad. There's nothing going on. So guys are like inventing things to talk about. Like you don't get ESPN, but this morning on Get Up, the headline: "Who will start more games for the Falcons, Tua or was it Penix?" Penix. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I get ESPN, Roddy. I've got ESPN thanks to the stick, but I just don't. I'm not up early enough for those shows. I'm usually watching. Usually by the time that I get going, it's McAfee, or I actually watch VSiN by the books with Dave Ross and Jensen Lewis because I like what they do. And Sportsline with Ranieri and Donnie Rightside.
Thank you, Ryan in upstate New York writes in and says Brandon Bean.
Brandon Bean. I knew there was a Bean in there. Thank you.
The guy that got thrown under the bus when the Bills fired Sean McDermott right after the season, when it was sounds like it was probably the owner's decision anyways, which, by the way, if we can walk this all back, because people were they want to talk about the Leafs GM, and that's totally fine, because I'm going to talk about something else after the break. But it's amazing that people get a can tied to them, especially with the Leafs, but we can throw the Cowboys in there too in terms of head coaches in teams like that. Tree Living's the problem. Brube's soon to be the problem. And before that, Dubas was the problem. And Mike Babcock was the problem. And everybody's the problem. That's why I said I would love to sit down with Paul Maurice, fill him full of booze, and just say, what's the problem there, Pomo? Because he would know. He would know. I don't know if he would say it. But ownership just gets a pass all the time with these teams, Mitch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And then it comes time to hand out the championship trophy, with the exception of the NHL. Who gets the trophy first? And that just bugs the ever-living you-know-what out of me.
Well, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that agree with you on that. But, I mean, you've worked around enough teams to realize the owners, without owners, we don't have any teams, pretty much.
Right.
So I honestly don't have a problem with it.
And again, this is not a shot at the football team that we used to cover all the time. But when the Riders won the Grey Cup, Stuart Johnston gave the Grey Cup to Corey Mace. He didn't give it to Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds was back behind the scenes somewhere, as he should.
He's also not the
When the
owner.
Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl, they didn't, why give it to Jody Allen? Give it to Mike McDonald. Because of him and his team, that's why you're up on that podium. The CFL and the NHL get it right. The other leagues, yeah, I realize they signed the checks, but you can give that trophy to the owner back in the dressing room. As far as
that's just a difference of opinion that we're going to have. I mean, I don't really care of the list of things that I have to worry about. That's not very high on it. But I will say something about owners. Here's breaking news for you, Mitch, that I think the viewers might find interesting. Maybe they won't. I am part of a group that's trying to bring back Roller Hockey International. I haven't told you this, but you remember that from 30 years ago? It lasted 6 seasons. The Vancouver Voodoo, the Anaheim Bullfrogs, the San Jose Rhinos.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say too much. They've told me that I can say a little, but RHI is coming back 2.0. We've got a website. We're going to do this in 12 cities. But we were looking at doing it here in South Florida. And so they said, talk to your Panthers friends and see what they say if Vincent Viola would be interested in having a team. And so I was with the Panthers this weekend in New York. So I talked to their people and they're like, Vinny hasn't been to a game all year. And he has a suite. We always know where it is. He was like, Vincent and Teresa haven't been to one game all year, the owner of the Panthers. And all I'm saying is you don't need to be around meddling to win.
Yep.
See where I'm
Agreed.
Going? See where I'm going with that?
I agree.
Yeah. And so anyways, I'll talk about more of this after the break. This is very, very, very exciting for me. Of all the things that have come across my plate since I left the Rough Riders job 7 years ago, besides this one, this is the next most interesting thing that I'm like, yeah, I'd like to do that. So yeah, you're going to be hearing more and more and more. Yeah, here comes the names. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the Calgary Rads. Ryan in upstate New York says the Empire State Cobras. Oh, no. It's very, 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 very exciting times. I was tabbed to help find the new commissioner, the first commissioner, and we've got him. And it's a big name. So it's very exciting. But anyways, enough about all that. That's not why you're here, Mitch. What's on your sports viewing docket the rest of the day and tomorrow? And what are you going to be doing? What's going on?
Probably a little bit of baseball, a little bit of hockey. That'll be it. Final four on the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, what sports topics are on your mind? Like March Madness, around where you live? How big of a deal is it really? Are you talking about it with your buds?
You know what? It depends on where you're at. Like, you know that I'm, entrenched with the university basketball community, and they're obviously interested in it for obvious reasons. I think there are a lot of people out there that like the game of basketball in Regina that are interested, but are they as invested as I am? Probably not. So I think everybody here is looking forward to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and I think really, Rod, you sort of touched upon it, and I don't know what the crowd count is for tonight, but I think a lot of people here are ready to see the Pats and the Tigers in Game 3 at the Brandt Center tonight, whether you're at the rink or you watch it on Victory Plus.
So it's hockey playoffs. I love it. And I tried to dabble in the football with you there, but it's like there just really isn't anything going on. And even Florio said it. He's like, this is the slowest time, So they're inventing the mock drafts and all the rest. You saw Orlovsky got in all the trouble because he said Ty Simpson should go higher than Fernando Mendoza, and it was just gross. Mm-hmm.
Is the CFL doing anything these days? Because there's nothing coming out of those offices. Where's the website that we were promised? Where's the new app we were promised? Wouldn't this be a great time to unveil that?
That's the thing. I would love to talk more CFL, and I considered, that being covering the CFL for a job at this stage of my life. I'm like, I would starve. I can't. So there just isn't anything there right now. So yeah, but we got a lot of comments that come in on the owners.
Usually,
right.
Well, that's the way it is usually. Is that the CFL, for whatever reason, they decide to take a month off. Sorry, you can't afford to do that if you want to be perceived as a professional league.
Well, I had the commissioner tell me back in the day, back off. We need to take the off season off. Guys need a rest.
Linus Olmark, commissioner.
Okay, so right, he's not the commissioner anymore, but I'm like, okay, it's your league. I don't think that's the best course of action, but you do you. And I'm living in Florida doing this. Okay, Script, again, thanks for lining this up, man. Great job. Appreciate you. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on the old RP show. Let's have some fun. Not that we didn't with Scruffy. Just want to mention a few things. Number one, our guest today is brought to you by Prairie Panels. That'll be Mike Richards in hour two. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca and sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It's free, and it's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. good news and bad news. I'll start with the good news and hopefully not even get to the bad news. And it's not even news of either kind, but I was thinking about this morning, thinking about the Blue Jays. I feel like they will always be my team for a variety of reasons. I mean, the Expos were my team growing up. They don't exist anymore. And then when I got into radio, this is what I was talking about, pre-internet and clearly pre-social media. My first job was in 1988 CFSL Weyburn. I was still in high school. And I used to have to tape Tom Cheek's Daily Baseball Report. It would come down the satellite, and I would record it and play it later on CFSL, the voice of the Blue Jays. And I can still hear it to this day. The smack of a bat. I'm Tom Cheek with a Daily Baseball Report. We all would just sit there. Oh, me, I just like listening to Tom's voice. But it was just such a nice time. And shoot, I was an NBA fan in the 90s, pre-internet. I'm like, didn't know anything about it. Certainly never grew up playing basketball, but wasn't expected to be an expert on anything. Just enjoyed watching the games and the Bulls run and the Bulls rivalry with the Portland Trailblazers. That was just such a better time, and I feel sorry for the young people that never had the chance to enjoy that, because now this is just a crap show. So it's really bad. It's really, really bad. And it's funny because John Ohm, you're here, and you were saying last week when Janice was on with us, you're like, oh, is Janice saying social media is ruining sports? It's ruining people. I don't know if it's ruining sports or not. So we go back to this Linus Ulmark situation. And yeah, I don't mind talking about it because I'm listed as a mental health professional. It's fine. The fact of the matter is he's missing games. And it's not great that his coach came out and said, when asked, why didn't he play? I don't know. He felt he needed a rest. Make something up. But I'll tell you a story. I was dealing with a goalie. There will be no names shared here. It wasn't a big deal. He was away from the team. The coach called me. He'd had a concussion, a series of concussions that came from shots off the head. And we went back and we traced where these shots came from. They weren't in games. They were coming in practices. So I said, he had so many shots to the head that it was concussed. He wasn't playing. He was cleared to play, came back, and his confidence was gone. Doesn't really seem out of line, right? So number one, I called the coach. I said, first of all, you want to start and tell the guys to keep their effing shots down in practice? With that? Oh, yeah, good idea. Anyways, we get the guy back into the net. And he went on to have an all-star season, went on a huge playoff run. But I remember sitting with some scouts in the media room before the game, and one of the scouts, I don't even know his name. You hockey people that are watching will know who he was. By me, he wore the fedora, like the old school fedora, like the guys you saw in the 1950s in the old photos. And he goes, "Where's so-and-so been? Why hasn't he been playing?" And I said, "Oh, he's been hurt because of concussions that he's had from shots to the head." He goes, "Oh, he's missed games because of that?" Yeah, it's a thing. Well, Glenn Hall played 500 straight games. He didn't even wear a mask. This guy's got to miss games? And I'm like, and I'm sitting beside I believe it was Ross Mahoney, the assistant GM of the Washington Capitals, who's known me since I was 12, puts his hand on my arm. So it's always been hard playing that position, playing sports, performing at a high level, being in front of a camera every day. We're still performing. Thing doesn't always go well, And so with Linus Ulmark, and then that's the other thing. This goalie had nothing to do with substances, but a lot of times they'll throw a player in front of me. The coach doesn't know what to do with him. He's an alcoholic too. How would he? Coaches aren't trained in this stuff. Nobody is, unless you are trained. So again, Travis Green, make something up. What do you got to tell the world that he felt he needed a night? Because the kid's just getting hammered now. And the fact of the matter is, I'm talking about by the fans, by the media, all the rest. It's just turned into such a crap show. And I saw our friend Claire Hannah putting on Twitter, she's like, when did all the people on my timeline become mental health experts? Well, everybody is a mental health expert because they think they are. Anyways, Tony in the Bridge City, by the way, writes in on this, and he says, I do believe, and I could be wrong, that Allmark spoke with Claire Hannah in a sit-down interview after he returned from his self-imposed hiatus. Signed, Tony from Saskatoon. Right. So he left, came back, and now he's gone again. So as I thank you, my intuition just told me, because I had this written down, this is where we need Janice Taylor, who was on the last 2 Wednesdays. I get sent these guys usually after it's all over. And it ain't good. She's trying to build a program to save them before this happens or help them. You know, this is interesting. I appreciate Dan in Winnipeg writes in and he says, Rod, do you think the Winnipeg Jets will make the wild card this year? Here's the thing. If we learned along the way, that would be a great thing, but nobody really does. Like every year. I'll say this again. I don't mind. Hustler definitely doesn't mind. I was on Winnipeg Sports Talk with Hustler like the end of January. And Andrew Hustler Pedersen had the Jets written off then. Here we are, last day of March, and now the Jets have a chance. And I'm like, oh. Point being, I wrote the Jets off too, because I'm like, well, if Hustler can, I can. And now they have a chance. What are we learning here? Maybe don't write your teams off. That's all. But people always do. Well, and by the way, this is another thing. Bill, thank you, Bill, from Whitby, Ontario, writes in. He says, the old school term for goalies with issues was called shell-shocked. Well, I believe that's an old military term, actually. But with Jeff O'Neill, I can't blame Jeff O'Neill with what he said on Overdrive. Jeff's a really good friend of mine. And he goes, it's BS. You can't be taking time off in the playoff stretch drive in the National Hockey League. He's not wrong. I don't know what Linus Ullmark's dealing with. I don't know who he is dealing with. I don't know. But I know what I tell anybody, whether it's the goalies or a soldier or an entertainer, it's like, you need to get on the stage, man. That's what you do. That's where you're at home. That's what you were put on this planet to do. We'll deal with the rest later. Oh, my God. Scott in Vancouver writes in and says, how long will Torts last? Come on, he's been there a day. Who is it? That same Scott in Vancouver says, don't think the modern day athlete can handle a hard-ass ball-busting coach these days. Yeah, I don't know about that. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he goes, I wish both you and Janice all the good luck in the world trying to help people like that. See, that's the thing. That's when Janice was talking about this last week. I'm like, we can help the players, but I'm not sure we'll ever change the culture with what Jeff O'Neill, you got to be in there. They do. But for some guys, it's not that easy. And girls. 902-518-3033. Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hey, Father Rodney and Monster Mitch. I asked ChatGPT who should be the next GM of the Leafs. And the response said Eric Tulsky. In ChatGPT, we trust, signed Vintage Sasko. P.S. Who the hell is Eric Tulsky? General manager of the Carolina Hurricanes. But most people would have to look that up too. That's why I enjoy you people, the viewers, because you guys are quite sane, smart. That's why you're here watching this show every day. But I feel like that also is rare. I see the people like Florida Panthers fans saying, we want Brady Tkachuk. Let's get him. Oiler fans, we want John Cooper. Let's go get him. You can't. Do you see where we are as a society? Just because you want it doesn't mean you can have it. Sorry. Forget about the Instagram memes and the You have to at least wait your turn. Oh, we'd like Eric Tulsky. He's got a job. He's the general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes. Frankly, I'm still shocked that they're talking to Doug Armstrong. But I guess it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be ousted in St. Louis. Because go look it up right now. Doug Armstrong is a Canadian hockey professional, currently the general manager of the St. Louis Blues. Really? Because I read on The Athletic this morning he's the leading candidate to become the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like, what world are we living in? Talking about, it's not a big deal. My guys said it's okay. I'm part of a group, not trying. We're doing this, bringing back Roller Hockey International 2.0. David in Winnipeg writes in number 2. He says, the best sponsor for the roller hockey, Tim Hortons. Oh, I get it. Roll up the rim to win. Well, we'll see, but most of the teams will be based in the U.S. We'll see if Tim Hortons wants to pony up. Hour 2 is ahead. It's going to be great. Mike Richards will be with us, so stick around. It'll be a brief pause. We'll be coming right back after this here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's good to be here on the RP show, and I can darn sure tell you in this business it's good to be anywhere. Hello, it's Hour 2 on the Game Plus Television Network. Hour 1 on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network as we welcome our viewers across Nevada. I've tried my best to keep it on the rails here today, but somewhat unsuccessfully. It's all been good, though. We've just been getting into some real stuff a little more than ever. And as we roll into the warm-up, brought to you by our friend Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel out of Vancouver, our official travel partner and the official travel partner of the BC Lions, I'm going to change up the topics in that we never even really got to this in the Quick Six Show topics. I'm going to make it number 1. There are 10 games in the National Hockey League tonight, including one in Edmonton, where the Oilers will aim for a 4th straight win when they host the Seattle Kraken. Elsewhere, the Ottawa Senators here in South Florida taking on the Panthers. The Tampa Bay Lightning host the Montreal Canadiens. And the Winnipeg Jets visit the Chicago Blackhawks. A little later on, I'll be making my picks for the night. It's a busy night in the NHL. 3, 6, 9, 10 games. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Our picks are brought to you by Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Come down and watch NHL hockey. Have the coconut shrimp and thank me later. Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Love that place. I was 3 of 5 on picks last night. You don't care the ones that I got right, but TK will tell you that pays. So we're in the money. That was number 1. Number 2 is where we got hung up in the real talk. Point 2. Brad Treliving has been fired as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment made the announcement just prior to the Leafs' 6-5 overtime win at Anaheim Monday night. Treliving was hired as GM of the Leafs May 31st, 2023, replacing Kyle Dubas. He arrived following 9 seasons as GM of the Calgary Flames. And, man, I really can't wait to get to the hockey game tonight and get into the press box and chat with my guys and gals, the hockey people, and get their take on all of this because, listen, it happens all the time. They're lighting Treliving on fire on his way out of Toronto. The Leafs are going to miss the playoffs. And again, I've said, we went through the analytics of this show. 1/2 of the podcast downloads of this show are in Toronto. A half. And I feel like that's because the people there are sick of the Leaf talk. They like us talking about all the other teams here. But when you fire the GM, it's pretty big news. And shoot, we talked about the Golden Knights firing Bruce Cassidy on the weekend, and they're 1-0 under John Tortorella. But anyways, what I'm just saying is, does anybody stop and think about these things like I do? Like Treliving, they're blaming him for the Flames problems. They're blaming him for the Leafs problems. The problems were there before he got there. And Berube's next out the door. Like, I'll just keep doing my thing. Trying largely to stay off the websites and the social media because it's bunk. Like the one headline, Craig Berube, now the lame duck coach of the Leafs, hasn't been told what his future is with the Leafs in the wake of the firing of the. If he hasn't been told, then he's been told. You're done. If you haven't been told, then you've been told, is the point. And by the way, the poll question, which we do every day, and it's proudly brought to you by Country Thunder. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. We're going to be doing ticket giveaways. There's a rumor that we'll be broadcasting the show live from Craven. Whew. That's exciting. Anyways, the poll is, who will be the next general manager of the Leafs? And to be honest, it was kind of fun last hour, and it could still be fun this hour talking about who the next GM will be. I mean, these were the top 3 candidates. I went to ChatGPT, which is good and bad. And by the way, I can't wait to have Mike Richards on. He's the guest, the iconic sports talk host on the Mount Rushmore. He probably takes up 2 spots on the Mount Rushmore of Canadian sports broadcasters. Mike Richards coming up next. as my old news director Greg Bonnet would say, from the ridiculous to the sublime, this list of GMs. Doug Armstrong, who's currently the GM in St. Louis, but nobody seems to care about that. Number 2, Mark Hunter, who's running the London Knights with his brother Dale, and they're the best team in junior hockey every year, and used to work for the Leafs in a senior scouting role. And then Chris Pronger, who's like the flavor of the day in the hockey media right now. And I love Chris Pronger. I think we're about exactly the same age. And he's been on this show. He's a great dude. I'm sitting here going, Chris Pronger's never really worked in hockey that I know of for a day. Not that that's a prerequisite, because look what Martin St. Louis is doing with the Montreal Canadiens. He never coached before. But anyways, Pronger gets to pick and choose and go on the net, Sportsnet and NHL radio and wherever he wants. He's got all the money in the world. Why the hell would you take the Leafs job? What's wrong with you? If he's even considering it. But anyways, the poll question for Country Thunder, Mark Hunter is leading it. And that would be my vote. Okay, so what are they saying in the streets? Clyde's watching in the Maritimes. And he writes in and says, it doesn't matter who the new GM or head coach of the Leafs is if they don't change the culture in that room. Nylander and Matthews both have to go, in my opinion. Oh, the questions are coming in from the viewers. I dropped last hour that I'm part of a group bringing back Roller Hockey International. If you know, you know. It was that inline roller hockey league that played in NHL arenas in the 90s, ran for 6 seasons. Franchises in Anaheim, Calgary, Ottawa, Vancouver, San Jose, Chicago. We're bringing it back. And anyway, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he goes, so you're shutting Canada out of it? No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And I know they don't want me to say we don't even know where the teams are going to be. We have loose idea where the teams are going to be. But the majority are in the U.S., and if Tim Hortons wants to be a major sponsor, then cool. That's all. We will have teams in Canada, but the bulk will be in the U.S., just like the NHL, just like MLB, just like NBA. So don't get your elbows up at me. Can you guys just deal with it? They're all writing in, whoa, where's the YouTube vote? Just chill out, you guys. Oh, my God. Which I guess brings us to the next point. Tonight's games. What I say, we're way off the road. And I'm okay with that. As I sit here and go Larry King style. Gloria in Rhode Island. You're on the air. Hello. I always loved the way he said the names. Oh, and by the way, like I said, I'm the Larry King of sports. It's really what it is. Let's be honest. And when he used to say all those names, Roger in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. You're on the air. Hello. I used to want to go see all those towns, and now I have. It's amazing. They were even better live when I went there. Richard in Flowery Branch, Georgia. You're on the air. Hello. Tony from Cochrane writes in and says, there's a fine line between genius and madness, Rod. I know it's largely timing is what the line is. For decades, you all thought I was mad. Now you're realizing I'm a genius. It just took a while. 902-518-3033. For those whining that there's no poll on YouTube, go vote on Twitter at Rod Pedersen Show. Wilf in Steinmack, Manitoba writes in. He says, hi, Rod. Talking to Doug Armstrong, would that be tampering by the Leafs? Depends who you are. I.e., I'm at Madison Square Garden on Sunday, and I'm walking around the concourses, and I'm like cramped. I'm running into people. And I'm going, I thought they said they had to implode the Saddle Dome because the concourses were too narrow. This is way narrower than, MSG is way narrower than the Saddle Dome. Oh, wait, it's New York, so we'll deal. Kirk in Toronto, speaking on the Leafs, let me just walk this back. I think everybody seems to have it right. Why did they fire Brad Treliving an hour and a half before their game at Anaheim last night, the Leafs? Because he knew he was going to be gone. I got to credit the guys on NHL radio this morning, our good friends Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Because I don't follow the Leafs. There's a million guys doing it, so I don't need to. Treliving wasn't traveling with a team. What'd I say? When you don't know, you know. So it sounds like Treliving just said, let's get over it. Let's just do it. And Armstrong is going to be available in St. Louis, I guess. So, again, it depends on who you are. Regarding that game last night, it's a big deal, especially to the NHL, when your highlights are aired on ESPN. It's a big deal. They're used to it in Canada, right? Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, Rod, Max Domi and the Leafs sure did make up for their non-response to the Matthews knee injury. Max did his team and his old man proud. Back to the media, it's kind of taken away my fun of following sports. If I just ignore the media, then I'll be fine. It's not all media, but it's some. We all knew there was going to be something in Anaheim. I didn't actually, with George Peros going in, you watched the show yesterday. I said, there'll probably be nothing if George Peros is there. No. 3 seconds in, Max Domi goes after Gudas and beats the hell out of an injured Radko Gudas. And I saw the people saying, if this isn't a premeditated event. Yep. Pretty sure when the guys fought the Tigers in the Coliseum back in the day in Rome, we all knew what was going to go down. We all knew. This is just the 2026 version of that. We all knew it was going to happen. Or could happen, and it did. If you don't like it, turn it off. Nobody's doing that. They're showing the highlights on ESPN. And then furthermore, hey, it's 1:11. Oh, do we ever need it today? This calls for a gong. For the live viewers, 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. Live in the end. Visualize where you want to be and live there. See, I just cleared my mind. What the hell was I talking about? Wayne in BC writes in and he says, I think social media amplifies the problems of players and coaches in sports today. I guess that's the culture. No. No, you're right. And like I said, we're not sitting here ripping through MLB and NBA like we normally would. We'll do that later in the hour. And Mike Richards is coming up next. And because the comments are going off the chain here from everybody. I just got to stop it all and get on track. So Ottawa Senators visiting the Florida Panthers here tonight. And let's stop talking about the grease fire that's the Leafs and talk about the grease fire that's the Ottawa Senators. So their goalie, Linus Ullmark, their $8 million goalie, didn't play Saturday night in their loss at Tampa Bay 4-2, which, by the way, everybody loses in Tampa Bay. I don't know why that's such a big deal to everybody. But the coach comes out, Travis Green. There's no media traveling with the Senators, so a guy that works for the team shoves a camera in his face, Travis Green, the head coach, and goes, why didn't Ullmark play? He said he needed a night off. Cue the chaos that goes along with this because he has had documented mental health issues earlier this season. Sounds like he's having them again. So as I was saying earlier in hour one, it's never been easy to play pro sports. Sorry to say, it's never been easy to be a goalie, and it's really hard now. And so there's this big debate going on about Jeff O'Neill saying this on TSN, who's a very good friend of mine. Jeff O'Neill saying, that's BS. You can't be taking a night off on a stretch drive. That's just the old school way of thinking, and he ain't necessarily wrong. I got my certification as a mental health recovery coach, so dealing with these players, there's a way to say it. Maybe O-Dog didn't say it properly. That's just an old school hockey guy coming out in him, but you need to play. So do what you got to do to get in. And that's where I said, this is where we need Janice. That's why she was on this show the last 2 Wednesdays, and she's going to come on again to finish up her thought on Wilson HQ, which is a very expansive, it's her new latest tech startup to deal with emotional fitness for athletes. That's all I'm saying, because when I deal with these guys, usually it's over. It's done. They've been discarded. Their career's over. It ain't good. She's trying to prevent it before the train goes off the tracks. God bless her. I'm not sure it's possible, but she does. Utah Darren writes in, he says, Rod, I love that you include mountain time. It's the land that time forgot. In the U.S., I know, brother. I heard this the other day. Somebody referred to Eastern time as God's time zone. I'm like, oh, you guys. They just think, yeah, they forgot about the rest of the country. But I was raised in the mountain time zone, so I'll never forget it. Producer Corey just said in my ear, the land before mountain. Mountain time is the best time. The best. It really is. Mike Richards will concur. And he's coming in next. I can't wait to chat with him. Oh, my God. He's going to have more takes than I don't know what. We'll be right back. We're broadcasting across Canada and 33 states on the Game Plus Television Network and Nevada on Silver State Sports.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, everybody. We're going to switch it from the Junior Hockey Report to the Hockey Report, brought to you by the Mad Greek Eatery. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs everybody's talking about? Is good. Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com in the Band City. Okay, Mike Richards. Why am I laughing already? I don't even know what you're going to say. Mike Richards joins us. The inimitable. Man, you look fantastic, by the way. The Leafs are looking for a GM, Mike Richards. Go.
Well, that is an interesting scenario, isn't it? Not one that I saw people say, shocking events as they have changed. I'm going, that's shocking? Okay, I don't want to wreck it, but the Titanic, not coming back. The culture and the massive job that Keith Pelly has in front of him. I don't envy him this one. And you have to know, I know Keith Pelly very, very well. He is somebody that if there's a great job out there, he's probably going to get it because he knows how to sell himself and he knows how to get stuff done. This is a completely different. This isn't fixing the CFL. This isn't trying to make TSN CFL look better. This isn't, hockey scheduling. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs that have had a decade now of futility. This is a organization that has zero culture. It's zero culture. It has an ability to tease its fans to make it look like it could be good. And Rod, you're a Cowboys fan, so it's a very similar feel. Like, okay, we got this player, we got that player. This all should work, right? Like this should be a championship or a playoff team. And then you head right to the rye. At least I do. Because then you see the fact that they are absent of so many things. And again, the Austin Matthews incident with Gudas was just, to me, I just couldn't take it after that. I mean, no one comes to his rescue. And so, yeah, I guess we're going to make a big deal of Max Domi, hijacking Gudas. Like, to me, it's just, okay, first of all, 2.5 weeks too late. So it kind of really doesn't count. And I just look at this lack of understanding that exists currently with the Leafs. It's all got to go. So and Brad Treliving isn't I know a lot of the pitchforks are out for Brad, but the problem of and the existence of a general manager is the evaluation of talent at that time, and then the organization is kind of going all in on you. It's a little bit of a gambling. They're saying, if we put these players together, this will equal a championship. Well, of course it didn't, and the players didn't, so now they're all crying saying, boy, we feel sick about this. We feel just terrible because it's our fault. Yeah, because it is, and it cost him his job. On the other hand, those individuals on the ice, I don't think have melded to form a culture. I think when you change coaches, it's borderline disastrous. I think that this is a team that you're going to see a lot more mowing of the lawn. What do you want to, the all hands on deck. It's going to be, and here's the other thing too. This isn't an overnight fix. This is something that, quite frankly, is going to be a lot harder than what we've even seen in Calgary, Rod, where you've seen some of the veteran players go out, which they had to find dance partners, and Connie did that. And so you see a lot of young guys. I mean, they've signed so many young guys, a lot of college guys, and they got draft picks. So if you're a Calgary Flames fan, you're like, okay, I see where we're going here. If you're a Leaf fan, at this very moment, I mean, what the hell are you seeing? Like, what's in front of you? Because I don't know. I honestly, Rod, don't know. Like, if you bring in a Doug Armstrong, which, first of all, he's under contract, you'd have to talk to the Blues. Chris Pronger's name gets put out there, but that feels, again, that's a gamble. Like, could it work? Well, maybe, but we've also seen former players come in that had a certain, like a bigger grit factor. Well, for Shanahan, how he played his whole career, it is so ironic, Rod, that none of the players and the entire team didn't reflect his style of play or his mentality as a player at all. And usually you usually are a product of the guys who bring you in, of the guys you're influenced by. And the Leafs didn't look anything. And he He did not step in at any point to say, okay, we have to grind our way out of this thing. It never happened. And that's why at this point, if you're a Leaf fan, as I said, depending on where your bar is, hopefully it's open late because you're going to need it.
Well, and I want to say this because we're going to move on from the Leafs, but to the Toronto Leaf fans and the Toronto people, they all think we hate them. I don't. Nobody that I know does. I mean, I feel bad for them because it would be nice if they won. And you're right with the Cowboy thing. It's the same. And we have a football guy on every Friday, Mike Davis. He's the GM and head coach of the Vegas Nighthawks indoor team, worked in the CFL for years. And I said, well, who's got the team with the most pressure in the NFL? He's like, Dallas. Didn't even think about it. And I'm like, well, the same would be for Toronto in the NHL. So it's like everybody wants to be there, yet do you? Because it's not as much fun. Now, can I flip this for a sec? Because we're airing in Nevada. We covered the Toronto thing as we air on Game Plus. Silver State Sports, we're airing there. Let's talk about some Vegas sports. John Tortorella, everybody wants to know where this is going. Nobody knows. That's the fun part.
No.
Yeah, what do you think?
You can't know simply because of the volatility. Now, is it the right thing to do? Vegas does not make a lot of mistakes. As a franchise, their level of understanding of what it takes to win a championship or be championship caliber might be one of the best in the entire league from the very second that they came into the NHL. They just decided that this is where excellence is. And even when things seemingly with a lot of franchises are going pretty good, I would say just pretty good, not in Vegas. They just do not have the time for it. And I really respect the hell out of the organization. Could he be the thing? Look, it's one of those things, and I remember having a great conversation years ago with Scotty Bowman. Scott Bowman came into my show, my stupid ass crazy circus show, and he was supposed to stay for 10 minutes. And I thought he might stay for 5 and go, what kind of a dog and pony show am I on? He stayed for an hour. It was the coolest hour. I'd never heard him talk that way beforehand, but he started to talk about players that he called bombers. So this was his word, not mine. And so those are the guys, they were the agitators. If I'm going to use another word, that's what it was. And he said, you all need one. It is whether you have Avery or you go down the list of all those kinds of guys that you love to hate. But he said, you all need one. At the same time, I look at the coaching aspect of it, and there's also a little bit of a fine line that you have to walk. Like what is on the rails, what is off the rails, and how do you keep that balance? So if you look at old school coaches like Ken Hitchcock, Hitch had a burn factor. I love my time talking to Ken Hitchcock. You'll never find a more open and interesting guy than Hitch. As he said, though, unless you talk to someone that played for him, and they will have no nice things to say. but it's that whole what is the burn factor and what is that time frame that you can keep that balance where the message works? To me, that's the whole thing in Vegas. Like, is it a shorter time frame with the team that they have? Therefore, maybe the burn factor, like if you can keep it down to this sort of level, does it work? And it potentially absolutely could work. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a terrible hiring and because of the way he is, it won't work. It's all about the fit of the puzzle at the right time. And getting back to the Cowboys, I always felt that one of the biggest problems they always had came from the sideline. Look, you've got to deal with Jerry, so that's going to take precedent over everything. But beyond that, football players not only want discipline from the sideline, they need it. It's a necessity. So if you're telling me a coach that's known as being, quote unquote, harder, or the old phrase, he's a hardo, as a player, and so I never have a problem with a good professional who's hard, because the level of excellence is always there. But the length of time, Rod, that's what we're going to figure out with Vegas. How long does it take? And does the message then start to burn at a certain point? Well, if you're all in, right? If you're all in, I kind of like his chances a little bit. I think it's going to be a very interesting hire.
Oh, I think it's going to work out. And it's going to be fun to watch, too. There is a book, by the way, called The Dark Side of the Game. Everybody should read it. It's by former Cincinnati Bengal D lineman Tim Green, where he talks about why some teams always win and some teams always lose. Just go read it, and everything that Mike's talking about will make sense to you. I don't know if you've ever read it, Mike, but it explains
I haven't.
Well, The Dark Side of the Game. It's worth, just for that chapter, you should read it. But you mentioned the Cowboys. I'm there. I don't know what's going on inside, but I know what I see. And I'll say this. We should talk about the media for a sec, because you're a guy that I could ring up a phone bill with talking about this. But we're on TV right now, so let's talk about it. DeMarcus Lawrence leaves Dallas a year ago at this time. He goes, I'll never win there. I'll never win a Super Bowl. Goes to Seattle, wins a Super Bowl the first year. So I was talking to a buddy of mine. Yeah, Kenny Nagunst, 806 Sports in Amarillo, Texas. I said, how come nobody's picked up on this? Why has nobody mentioned that DeMarcus Lawrence? He goes, they're all afraid of Jerry. Nobody will say it.
Look, it's Jerry's world out there. I mean, again, we don't really have anything remotely similar here in Canada, even in terms of ownership, because a lot of it is corporate. Obviously, big corporations own it. But when you're talking about Jerry Jones, you're talking about the oldest of the old boys club. And you're also talking about an old oil and gas guy. I mean, this is landman stuff. I think it's why he showed up in the show. When you look at that Cowboys documentary, which I found to be really fascinating, like it was really interesting, you are not going to be getting out of his shadow in that state. It's just not going to happen. And if you try, well, good luck with that, man, because it ain't going to work out for you, y'all. You just cannot get out of Jerry's, the football mahal that he built. That was just a statement of look at me. Look at what I've created. He is one of which is why Gillette and a lot of the older guys, again, of that old boys network in the NFL, you just ain't going to beat it. So if you want to mess with that, fine, but just get ready to either get out of the business you're in or not even enter it, because you're going nowhere. Yeah.
I'm sitting here living in Miami, as you know, and every Dolphins news conference, Troy Aikman's in the front row with a Dolphins lapel pin on. And I don't know whether to puke or cry. Why was Aikman with the Dolphins? He should be with the Cowboys, but everybody knows why he's not. Because he would take over, they would win, and he would get the credit. I don't even need to go down that road. Yeah, it's sick. Do you have a take on the Linus Ullmark situation as the Senators are coming through here tonight to take on the Panthers, and he didn't play Saturday, and the coach said because he needed the rest? That's as ugly as the Leafs.
Asking me about the Ottawa Senators is sort of like asking me about a WNBA team. I don't know.
Not following it?
No. They're happy in Toronto because they have the tempo, I believe they're calling it. And I see Yasai Majuri, he's an owner. A wonderful, an amazing human being, like he really is. But I don't buy into, the WNBA. The only trade I ever heard of that I really knew in the WNBA was when Brittany Griner came from Russia out of prison, and they sent like a arms dealer back. That's the only WNBA trade I ever heard of.
That was a real trade too, by the way. Oh my God. Well,
now March Madness is huge for me. March Madness is huge for me, right? I mean, it's now, in my pool, in all fairness, I took Arizona. And people are like, well, why did you take Arizona over Duke, over Michigan, it's because of the NIL. It has changed the world in greatly in college football, to the point where you're really going to see it's basically, when it comes to the Power 5, the power conferences, it's like the AFC, NFC. And everyone else in between gets completely lost, which is why the bowl season has been destroyed, completely ruined. It was my favorite time of year, and now it's spring football. It's spring football, unless you're in the college football playoffs. Now with NIL, which again, I'm not against players being paid. I never was. But now you're asking the NCAA to police it a little bit. They'll do a terrible job because they don't understand athletics. They just don't. It's run by academics, so they don't get it. And so you have teams that are really good at it, like Arizona has been. And then you have teams that spend millions of dollars on, like BYU having Dibansa and then Richie Saunders, and then that's it. Florida did a really good job, just didn't have the right. They weren't as strong, obviously, as they were last year. Alabama played no defense. When you looked at it, Michigan obviously has done a really good job, and of course that's the game coming up that will be really the championship game as far as I'm concerned, where you've got Arizona and Michigan, but the.
Whoops. That was Mike froze, eh? Not me. Producer Corey, are you there? Hit refresh, Mike. The guy gets on a roll, and I just sit back and listen, and I enjoy it. Producer Corey, you still there? I know you are. If Mike Richards can just, Mike, if you can hear me, hit refresh. You caught me. This reminds me back when I was refereeing hockey games and why I didn't last as a referee. I would sit back and watch the games. They'd start yelling at me. Oh, I'm supposed to make a call there. I was just sitting back enjoying listening to Mike talk about March Madness, and all of a sudden, boom, he freezes. Could have been a worse look on his face than that. Well, I guess I'll tell you people, I would have liked to have told Mike that I used AI to fill out my bracket, and I got Michigan winning. I still got a chance to win the whole thing, and I used AI. As the viewers were saying earlier, maybe AI should run the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a joke in there somewhere. Oh, my God. Thank you, Producer Corey. He just tells me that Mike Richards had a power surge. I tried to get to this with Scruffy last hour. But with Scruffy, it feels right now like last week, but it was last hour. But Scruffy's like Herschel Walker. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. But I feel like just with technical stuff with this show, which has nothing to do with Skycron, Scruffy's internet goes down 20 minutes before this show today. Mike Richards has a power surge, blows up the whole interview. Mark Hebscher yesterday has to go to his attic where the insulation is, where the Wi-Fi. It's like God just... Yeah, you know what it is? Producer Corey just telling me that there he's back. I canceled my Rogers cell phone today. After 12 years of not using it, I canceled my Rogers cell phone today, and the Rogers gods are getting me. You're back, Mike. Okay, yes. So where you left us is the Michigan game is the final as far as you're concerned in the Final Four.
Yeah, it was Duke. I've never seen a team, all Caden Boozer had to do was basically fall on the ball and just roll on the ground. The game would have been over. But he panicked like a high school kid. And that's what you get with the one and dones. Quite honestly, that's what happens with these programs. And I feel bad for him because he's going to see that in his mind for the rest of his life. Like that's not one you're getting over. I remember talking to Ron Lancaster years and years and years ago because we brought up the game, the Tony Gabriel catch in the end zone in Exhibition Stadium. And
1976.
He said, well, and you know who got beat on that play? And he said,
Tony Campana.
He was such a good player. And he said, but when the moment that happened, it's Saskatchewan football. You're going to be reminded about that when you go to Tim Hortons and get donuts. They're going to go, hey, aren't you? It's just a tough thing in sports to have something like that happen. But I think Arizona wins the whole thing. And I see in the state of Florida, by the way, our Canadian kid from Montreal, who is the world's tallest man, Olivier Rioux, who was getting like zero time with but he's in the transfer portal, so he will not be with Florida this year. He wasn't going to get any court time, so it's too bad. My guess is Arkansas. It's just a guess, but I think he goes to. Yeah, I think he was to Calipari.
Well, I used AI to fill out my bracket, and I got Michigan winning. Not Tony Montana, Tony Campana. Okay, Mike, this has been great. Bye. Great job. He gone. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. Tom Campana, not Tony. That's my bad. In my defense, it was only 50 years ago. The guy that got burnt on the game-winning touchdown of the 1976 Grey Cup. Okay. As I was saying, things dropping in and out. I cancel my Rogers cell phone today. The guy he's like, well, we could put it on pause. We could give you 2 free months. Dude, I haven't made a call on it in 12 years. Can we just cancel it? With Rogers out of Toronto. All of a sudden, everybody's internet's dropping. It's like God's throwing me these fastballs. I'm like, chin music every day. And producer Corey, too. I would say, Corey, we're doing a great job of handling it. And as we were mentioning earlier, I've gotten the green light to say a little bit about the fact that we're bringing back Roller Hockey International. This is the original crew from 30 years ago. And for whatever reason, they felt like I might have something to contribute to this bunch. So Jeff and the Stamps fan says the Calgary Power Surge. That could be a roller hockey team, Rod. Oh, trust me, we're having a hell of a lot of fun with the names and everything. And when I say these are the original people, because it's guys and gals, they own all the names. They own all the video. They own everything. I can tell you that Mark Messier is involved. Right, guys? That's a fact. I can say that. So I had said my dream here a few years ago. You all, if you watch the show every day, Jeff the Stamps fan, you do. I said I'd like to have a team called the Florida Wave in the National Lacrosse League. That's something I could sink my teeth into. Maybe we'll have the Florida Wave and the roller hockey. I don't know. They've been on this for a while. I just got in a couple weeks ago, met with them for the first time. It's it's going to be fantastic. Scott in Vancouver writes in, thank you. I hope the Americans are enjoying this because they have no idea what a lot of what we're talking about here. Scott goes, does Tony Gabriel own that pizza chain there? No, but I talked to Tony about that. If you all remember, he was on the show last summer. We did the live show from Burlington, Ontario at Joe Dogs, and I said the exact same thing to Tony Gabriel, Hall of Fame Canadian Football League receiver, everybody, with Hamilton and Ottawa. I said, do you own Gabriel's Pizza? They have the ad on the field there in Ottawa. He goes, well, if I do, I never got a check. And he says, they don't answer my calls. Tony Gabriel, he is a beauty, man. But no, he does not own Gabriel Pizza. I feel like he would like to. Wouldn't we all? 902-518-3033. That's the text line brought to you by Western Dodge. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. Murray, where you been, Murray? Yeah, here we go. He goes, it's Tom Campanarati. Safety Ted Provost was part of the burnage. I apologize. I was 3. Wayne in BC. I remember Tom Campana as a receiver and part-time running back. Did he not come into the game off the bench for just that play? It's the story I was told. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says, watching Leafs coverage is like the hockey equivalent of a bad reality TV show. Whatever. We don't talk about the other networks, if you've noticed. I don't know why everybody's sending me in weather reports from the great white north, but apparently it is white. Scott in Moose Jaw writes in, he says, plus 17 Celsius last week here, 4 inches of snow last night. Why not? Kirk in Toronto writes in, Toronto's getting a boatload of rain as we speak. Atmospheric flood. Again, we're not the weather network, but thanks for your updates. I haven't got to the sports update yet. We'll have to do it after the break. Plus our picks. NFL confirmed Monday it's partnering with TMRW Sports to launch a professional flag football league. Investors will include Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Serena Williams. The NBA has approved the $4.25 billion sale of the Trailblazers to a group led by Carolina Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon. And National center fielder Joey Wiemer reached base safely in each of his first 10 plate appearances, joining Carlos Delgado for the longest such streak in the last 75 years. We'll be right back with overtime after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Well, here we are. I can't believe it. For the final segment already. Brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I got to sneak some stories in here. I get things written down I didn't even get to. I could push it till tomorrow. Are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment, the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels now, plus specialized shooting training. Don't get left in the dust. Look up Randy and Michelle and perfect your game. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. We were mentioning Country Thunder, brand new sponsor of the RP show, Country Thunder, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th in Craven South. Big country music fest. I've not set foot on those grounds since I quit drinking 11 years ago. So this will be a first to go back if we're doing a live show there, and that's what it sounds like. But I'll tell you a little story. 2010, this is how close I am with those people, and they are still the same people running this show. 2010, I got a call. They said, it's Country Thunder. I'm not going to name the names. But yeah. With George Strait's here tonight. We would like you to meet him. What? We know George Strait's your guy. We're going to give you the opportunity to meet him. I'll be right there. And I met George Strait that night. These are the kind of people that I didn't even ask. They offered it. That's how great of people that they are. Country Thunder, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th. Lainey Wilson is the headliner. Times change a lot. But it was very nice when our business manager told me that we're done a deal with Country Thunder, Saskatchewan, and we'll be doing ticket giveaways and all the rest. Just wonderful people. Does the heart good. Okay, I went 3 of 5 on NHL picks last night. That's not great, but it paid. Pays. I didn't put any money on it, but Devils at Rangers tonight. I'm going with the Rangers. Islanders at Sabres tonight. Sabres, but should be a hell of a game. Dallas at Boston tonight. The Stars are sucking. They've lost 5 of the last 6 after going on a franchise record point streak. I think I'll take the Bruins. Detroit at Pittsburgh. Penguins scored all their goals last night. Red Wings for me. Montreal at Tampa Bay. Ole, 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 ole. No, I'm not going to the game. I had a lot of people ask me. No, we got a game here. That's the game of the night. Montreal at Tampa Bay, just so you know. I'm going to take the Habs. Well, they've won 3 in a row. Philadelphia at Washington. Flyers are charging. Caps are not. I'll take Philly. Ottawa at Florida. Here, definitely the Sens. Panthers are icing a minor league team. It's not their fault. Carolina at Columbus. Every game's a must-win for the Blue Jackets, Jody Shelley tells me. So we'll go with the Jackets. Winnipeg at Chicago. Jets. They've come back from the dead. And Seattle at Edmonton. What are the Oilers? Won 4 in a row? Are they going for 4 in a row? Either way, the Oilers seem to have turned it in the right direction. So let's go with the Oilers. And we got through that pretty fast. That's the picks for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Love that place. Be probably the first place I go this summer. Okay. Tomorrow it's just me. Any requests for guests? Because I haven't booked anybody yet. I don't think. It's been that kind of week. Not that it's been bad. Not bad at all. It's been fantastic. But as I say, we go one day at a time, and looking forward to the hockey game tonight. By the way, our poll question today is who should be the next general manager of the Leafs. It's brought to you by Country Thunder Saskatchewan, and leading the poll is Mark Hunter. I think a lot of people felt he should have been hired the last time around. Bring his brother Dale with him. By the way, Jeff the Stannis fan was right. I'm sorry to say it, but it's not going to matter. He's going to be fired in a couple of years anyways. I still am of the mind if Mike Babcock couldn't make the Leafs successful, nobody could. And I understand he has his detractors. I understand all that. I don't feel like going down that road today, even though I cracked the lid on it myself. And shame on me. But it's like every time I have Mike Babcock on this show, my phone blows up with some guys that played for him that don't like him. And I'm like, hey. He's always been great to me. That's all I can say. He's been great to me. What am I supposed to say? So he couldn't be successful there. I don't think anybody could be successful there. I don't specifically know what the issues are with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I got a pretty good idea what it is with the Dallas Cowboys. And I guess what it is they say people know these things. They just don't say those things. But I say those things because I don't really care. Jerry Jones isn't paying me. I mean, Brian Schottenheimer comes in there to coach the Cowboys last year. And after Mike McCarthy was fired because he couldn't get anything done, and Schottenheimer, they missed the playoffs. So I know what the problem is in Dallas. There is a problem in Toronto very clearly. I don't know what it is kind of what I'm getting at here. And it's funny because Jason and Red Deer, the viewer, wrote in earlier and said, the Super Bowl is coming back to Las Vegas, 2029. Will the Raiders be good by then? There appears to be something wrong with the Raiders. I don't know what that is either. But I would say it's probably a safe bet that they won't be good by then. The one thing that is cool about us airing here on Silver State Sports is, as I've been paying a lot of attention to what they're airing, they got a lot of A's coverage, a hell of a lot of Raiders coverage. They don't do a lot of Golden Knights coverage. And we've been doing a lot of that. People seem to like it. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in, he says, time for Rich Sutter. That is not a bad idea, and he's probably watching right now in Lethbridge, Alberta. But I'll say it again. Everybody thinks it should have been Mark Hunter, should be Mark Hunter, and we'll see. The one thing that I fear, as Scruffy said, this is what we'll be hearing about all through the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we probably will because I feel like this is not a open and shut case. Yeah, we're just getting started on this GM search for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anyways, we'll do it all again tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for hanging in today. Thanks to Mike Richards. Thanks to producer Corey. Thanks to Scruffy. Number one, be good to yourself, and we'll do it all again tomorrow here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
Good.